How can I help you? Once in a while, instead of opening the doors to one of our coaching programs, we'll simply open the doors and ask you, what do you need from us? So if you head on over to heatherchauvin.com/takebackcontrol, you can fill out this interest form. One, it gives me great feedback on who you are, what your problems are, so that I can be of service to you on the podcast and other free content that I create. But two, if you are seeking mentorship and you're looking for a coach or you're looking for guidance, I can let you know. If I personally feel like I can be of service to you, I will reach out. And if I can't and I know somebody who can, I'll point you in the right direction. I am here on a mission to help as many women as possible grow and feel alive and in alignment. Because when you are on fire, when your mindset is on par, when you feel healthy and strong, you are becoming the role model that we need for the next generation. So simply head on over to heatherchauvin.com/takebackcontrol. And I look forward to reading your intake form and seeing how I can be of service moving forward. There we go. We're recording. We're on Facebook. We're sharing. We're here. Okay. So welcome back, guys. I'm Heather Chauvin, and this is the Motherhood, Business, and Impact. So I'm going to be talking, it's just going to be a blip into this, and I recognize some names inside the Zoom, so I can see you guys who are joining. And some of you are already clients, which is amazing. And you're going to get more. It's going to crack you open even more. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather Chauvin. I'm the founder of the Mom is in Control podcast. This is my website. Check it out at heatherchauvin.com. TEDx speaker. I've been featured on Huffington Post, Real Simple, a whole bunch of entrepreneur, things like that. And what we're going to go over today, I'm just going to show you, is I'm going to show you my calendar. And I'll show you right now. But specifically, I'm going to show you how we got to this calendar. Because if you told me 6 years ago that I would be teaching people about my calendar, I would have thought you were crazy. And the reason why, I'm going to actually go like this, see if you can hear me better. No, I'm going to look ridiculous. The reason why I talk a lot about time is because of my story. So for those of you who are not familiar with my story, I have more pictures for you. This is what I look like almost 6 years ago. Right here. This was my belly. And I wasn't pregnant here. This was a stage 4 cancer. This was Burkitt's lymphoma. It was rapid growing tumors in my abdomen. It wasn't this big when I was diagnosed, but within 2 weeks, I went from feeling bloated to this picture. And what I didn't understand at the time was I was sick for a really, really long time. And because I was sick for so long, I bought into the cultural conversation that is very common between a lot of women, especially motherhood, and women in general, is self-care is selfish. And, putting yourself on the calendar is a no-no. Like, you're taking away from other people. And I believe that this belief that we have as women, the stories, the dialogue that we're telling ourselves is actually killing us. And for me, it literally almost killed me. And so this picture represents so much to me that I just want to share it with as many people as possible to show you that change is possible. And in order to get to where we want to be in our lives, we have to realize that it's not just about do. It is about how we want to feel in our lives. So since that moment, where I was highly focused in my business before that, I was highly focused on the parent-child dynamic, and it was very child-focused. And how can we get our kids to meditate? And how can we introduce these, spiritual concepts to our children? And then after this, what I realized was I would hear so many women and so many of my clients are like, Heather, I don't have time to do this. And I was like, well, what's going on here? So when I realized that, time is a precious resource and too often we're utilizing it, just giving it away, wasting it, pretending that we have an abundance of time, which we do have an abundance of time, but it is one of those resources that you cannot create more of. It is truly how you show up with your relationship to time. So that is my story. Okay, so we're going to talk about the calendar. We're going to do, I'm just looking at my notes. We're going to do the giveaway. So now that we're up and running, this is what you guys have to do for the giveaway. So for those of you who are here live, we're going to be giving away two of these journals. So all you have to do is go to my Facebook page, my fan page, which I will show you. It's just my name. So go to Heather Chauvin. This is what it looks like. And you are going to see, this is like, you go to Facebook, you search Heather Chauvin, and I will pop up like this. And you're going to see, I don't have it on here because I didn't refresh it, but you're going to see live on the side here. Maybe I can refresh it now. Let's see what happens. I'm probably just going to screw something up. See right here where it says live. So I want you to watch this video. I want you to comment below the video. So comment below and share it to your profile. That's all you have to do. And then right after the webinar, because of course you have to be live, right after the webinar, a team member is going to be going through, she's going to pick 2 random winners, and we are going to private message you and send you these journals, and then we'll just tag the winners after. So I got that off my list now. Okay. So here we go. Let's dive into, we're also going to be doing, I'll open it up for Q&A and stuff like that, but we're also going to dive into the training right now, because our time is precious. Awesome. Yay. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is the end result, but in general, I want to talk about how I got here. So again, I am not a spreadsheet person. I am an intuitive feeler. So if I don't feel like doing something, and I'm also a rebel. So if I don't feel like doing something, I'm not going to do it. If somebody else tells me to do something, I'm not going to do it. And too often, Okay, so someone's asking, I see Heather's Facebook page, but I don't see how to go to the group and live. So if you go to my Facebook page, it just says live on the side, or scroll down and watch my feed on my actual Facebook page. You're probably looking at my personal page. You have to make sure my profile picture is black and white. That's my Facebook fan page. You don't have to be in the group. You just have to share that to your own personal profile. Okay. So again, I'm a rebel. I don't like this stuff, but we got to make magic happen. So for those of you who are here, step by step through the process, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, how do I want to feel in my life? Because I'm going to refer to myself as old Heather and new Heather. So old Heather, post stage 4 Burkitt's lymphoma almost 6 years ago, I would wake up, and this is what a lot of clients experience, like wake up, get the kids ready, do whatever. They're usually waking up because of the child, or they might have some type of morning routine, but it's go, 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 go. How much can I cram into my day? And then feeling exhausted and depleted. So I'm going to show you something. This slide right here. The reason why I talk about energetic time management is because there's different layers and levels of life that we have to get through. I call it sustainable ambition. So when I was sick, so I was always living in survival mode, and you can be in survival mode in one area of life and then in a thrival state in another area. And you can do this in different areas of your life. But the whole goal is to get into a state of thrival or creative abundance in all areas of your life. So I see so many women living in this state of survival mode in their physical health, their mental health, emotional and spiritual health, and most likely in their bank account as well, and with their time. Their relationships might be okay, but they might be, in a state of momentum, and I'm using this with air quotes, in their career. Why? But it's not sustainable because, they're feeling good and their boss might be like, yeah, she's amazing, she's the greatest. But she, all of a sudden, you are going into your boss's office and the boss is like, what's going on? And you're like, I need a stress leave. And they have no freaking clue because your way of operating in the world is not sustainable. So right now I would say I'm in a state of a thrival state in my life, in most areas of my life. And I remember being in the survival mode, and this little red dot was actually where I was in a crisis state in most areas of my life. And nobody taught me this pyramid. I had to figure all this shit out myself because I was looking around at people around me and nobody was living an abundant, healthy life, or at least I wasn't paying attention to it because I know people do this. I wasn't paying attention to it. And I just seen all these women in role model positions that weren't living a healthy lifestyle. It was either coming from this place of lack or restriction, or they were miserable and angry and resentful, but they quote unquote look good on the outside. And I wanted to feel good on the inside, and I wanted that to show on the outside. So oftentimes when I'm working with people, what happens is they might come to me in a survival mode in one area of their life, one or more areas of their lives. And then we get them to a momentum state, and then to a thrival state, and then to a creative abundance state if they continue and choose to get there. But oftentimes as we're going through these layers in our life, what happens is you're bumping up against the upper limit problem. And the upper limit problem is our stories and our beliefs and our identity as women and who the world is telling us to be. And so I've noticed this again and again and again, that as I've bumped through these next layers in my life, whether it was physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in my parenting, my role as a wife, my role as a business owner, like all the identities and hats that I wear, every single time I bump through a new area of my life, new level, new shit, right? And so this is why I've hired mentors. I've chronically reinvesting in myself, time, money, and energy, because this is how you get to where you want to be. And we have to realize that this is an unlearning in who we are as a person, right? I just had this conversation with my husband the other day, and him and I talk a lot about this because our roles have shifted because of the growth of my business and my drive and momentum to continue spreading this message. I'm just exploding. And because of that, my husband has taken a different role in his career. And, we've been able to create this freedom in our lives, whether it is, we're more able to travel, but more than that, he's able to spend more time with the kids. My role has shifted as a mother. So our boys are currently 14, 9, and 6. And I can't tell you how often, he's there to do the quote unquote woman's work, which those words coming out of my mouth just makes me want to vomit. But whether it's cooking or cleaning or doing all these things that women too often think they have to do, letting those things go from my identity, from who I am and like what other people tell me who I need to be has been very difficult. And so I'm not going to play, stupid and pretend that everyone's life is like mine. It's not. You might be a single mother. You might not have children. The whole point here is you create the life that you truly desire, but we have to realize that there's an unlearning process that comes into this of who we've been taught by culture of who we need to be. And so if you want to create that freedom in your life, if you want to experience that expansion, you have to give yourself permission. So today, I'm hoping that I'm giving you permission to be who you want to be and to feel the way that you want to feel in your life. Because too often, we're just sitting back and we're allowing the energy of life to come to us. And then we're managing that energy. And then we're saying, I'm sick, I'm depleted, I'm angry, I'm overwhelmed, I'm resentful. I just want to run away. I can't do this. I just want to sleep all the time. I'm going to Netflix all the time. I'm drinking too much. I have no money in the bank account, or I'm just spending money all the time to try to throw money at the problem. I want to give you permission to feel the way that you want to feel. I truly do. Because this old Heather right here, like this picture represents so much for me. Those tumors represent everything that I was holding on to that was not mine to hold on to. And the whole purpose of your life is to feel and experience joy. You were meant to feel alive. So how far would you expect a car to travel on an empty gas tank? You wouldn't. It's summertime when I'm recording this. And I'm telling you right now, if you're going on a vacation, let's just say you're going on a little road trip, one of the first or last things you're going to do is gauge the gas tank. And you're going to say, oh, we got to go get gas. Or I'm not going to debate you if you have an electric car. But my whole point is, are you charged? Is the gas tank full? And most likely by the time you get into that car, if you're watching this, you're going to feel depleted. And that used to be me. I barely ate. I never worked out my body. And when I say work out, I never barely spent any time outside because I am ambitious. I have dreams. I have goals. I want to make an impact. I love my children dearly, and they are a huge why for why I do what I do. But I also realize that in my DNA and who I am, I don't want to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And if you are, that's okay. But here's my thing. I want to be at home with my children, and I don't want to work outside of the home. And I have to find a quote unquote balance, or what I like to call alignment with that works for me, that works for my family, that works for my children. And if I went back, and I talk a lot about these stories on my podcast, on the Mom is in Control podcast, and I remember talking about my identity, and there was a weird transition between my first and second son being born, where I was in school and we were actually on a break in between semesters. And my oldest started school, and I was pregnant with the second one. I had like 2 months of this awkward time where I'm like, there's no point in getting a job. Like, I'm just in transition. And I remember feeling not like I had all this time in the world and that I was expanding and like, oh, great, freedom, where everyone's like, aren't you excited? Like, your son's going to school. And I was like, no, my heart just like walked out of my body. And I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my sense of purpose is beyond motherhood. And then I jumped inside of my business and I was like, oh, good, this is my purpose. And then I realized that my purpose is who I am, that I am energy. We are all energy. And how you live your life, how you show up every single fucking day is a representation of what is going to come back to you. So we can be inspired by our families. We can be inspired by our work. They can light us up, but they are not everything. There's so many aspects to who we are that consume like all of us, and it can be overwhelming. And so here I'm just trying to teach you a little tidbit for today on how to manage all of this. And that's what we're going to do with the calendar. Stephen Pressfield, if you haven't read, what's it called, guys? I always screw this up. The War of Art. Is it the War of Art or the Art of War? It's the War of Art. It's the War of Art, right? Can someone please confirm this? Stephen Pressfield. Most of us live two lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. And between the two stands resistance. The war of art. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Okay. War of art. I figured it's not the art of war. That's like history. Okay. The war of art. So I want to quickly talk about this for a second, and then we're going to dive into the whole calendar thing. And the reason why I'm setting you up for this stuff is because I fucking hate calendars and spreadsheets, and I love living and feeling alive. So that's what I'm here to do. So I want you to focus on the macro picture of this and not like the micro tool or action that you need to take. I want you to focus on how you want to live. So like this quote, we have two lives. We have the life we live and the unlived life within us. Between the two stands resistance, 100%. Most of the time people will say to me, if they know what they want, that's great. But they're like, I am terrified to make that happen. And I'm like, yes, that is resistance. And then I will have the other person that says, I don't know what I want, but I just know I don't want this. You don't necessarily need to know what you want in your life, but it's a good understanding to know how you want to feel. And I also want you to know that I am terrified on a daily basis, like 100% of the time, terrified. Okay. But I don't feel fear the way that I used to. I get excited now because I know good stuff is coming. I'm like, ooh, I'm growing again. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, just observe your body and observe how you're physically reacting to this, or mentally, like the stories that are coming up for you. And just take a deep inhale and exhale and give yourself permission to just feel whatever you're feeling, and try not to have attachment to it, because that's really where we get stuck. We have too many attachments to what we're feeling. And then we put a story attached to that. And then you take action based on that story. So when I'm expanding, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. I'm like, yes, I'm excited, rather than, oh my gosh, this is the worst mistake I've ever made in my entire life. So I'm here to say, what if? What if you could wake up feeling fully energized on purpose, even with a little baby? What if you could do whatever you wanted? You could make the impact that you desired. You could plan your schedule according to how you want to feel. You could have healthy boundaries, and you could feel okay when other people are uncomfortable with the boundaries that you've set in place. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that tells you this is easy. I do say this is easy all the time because I'm trying to convince myself of that. There's a difference between easy and ease. And I'm telling you, on the other side of your discomfort is where the magic happens. So this is freedom. This is uncomfortable. This will get you to where you want to be, but you have to go through the resistance in order to get what you desire. So let's start. Okay. I want you guys to, so number one, what I want you to do is I want you to brain dump. So for those of you who are not familiar with my work, or haven't worked with me personally before, been inside any of my mastermind groups or Mastery or Soul Elite, I talk a lot about brain dumping. And so the first thing I want you to do is to brain dump. And a brain dump, and you can ask me questions if you have questions about this. A brain dump is simply you dumping out all the things that you need to do that are stuck up here. Brain dumping is so good for your mental health. It's like you're vomiting on the page. Everything is just out. You're not judging it. You're not worried if you're going to get it done, but it's kind of like a brain dump of your to-do list. So post in the comments or underneath this video, if you're watching on Facebook, if you've ever done a brain dump or have heard of this concept before, because I know other people teach it as well. Awesome. Brain dumps rock. Yes, yes. All from you. Yes. If you were inside the Time Freedom Challenge, I did talk about brain dumping. Perfect. Yay, you just did it for the first time on Sunday and it was amazing. Yes, it is. The last thing I do before I go to bed. Amazing. Mm-mm. Perfect. Yes, if you read The Artist's Way, it's a book. They talk about doing it in the morning. Jessica said, this is the only thing that got me through when I was a working full-time working mom. Yeah, she had no choice. She'd forget everything. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I really like the idea of the last thing you do before bed too, because sometimes, we're going through the night and our brains are just go, 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 go. So one of the things that I was going to say is, what the heck was I going to say? I should brain dump right now. Okay. So once you've brain dumped, then what you're going to do, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to categorize. So I also don't want you to be overwhelmed by this process. I'm going on almost year 6 of this, and it is a rinse and repeat process. And sometimes when I'm teaching this concept to my clients inside my groups, what I find is the first time it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. And what I find through that process is because people are being confronted with all of their shit. Like, I can't do this because I can't do that. So understand that your beliefs and your stories are going to come up hardcore when you choose to do something different. Remember that whole resistance part? The life you live and the unlived life inside of you is resistance. So just sit with the resistance and know that it's progress, not perfection. So if I'm teaching you something, you're like, ooh, this is overwhelming, just take it one bite at a time. And my life is not your life. So I'm teaching you a template, you make it your own. And I still have this mindset sometimes, especially when it comes to food, and I'm trying to unlearn, but I'm like, oh my God, I didn't eat like this, or I didn't eat right, or whatever. I'm like, at least I ate, right? At least I ate. So here we go, guys. Okay. Pick one word that you want to feel in your life. When I was going through chemo and treatment, I was very resistant to Western medicine, but that's a whole nother story. I felt depleted. I felt like I was dying. I felt scared. I felt like I was in crisis mode, and I had nothing left. Like I couldn't even talk to my kids. I was like, guys, can you go? Like I couldn't yell. I couldn't do anything. So I actually stopped yelling. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can get my kids' attention another way besides raising my voice. That's another conversation. But what I realized was I was feeling everything that I was avoiding, like fear, right? Like I would avoid fear. I would just be like, oh, I'm not going to look at it. I was avoiding putting healthy boundaries in place for how I wanted to feel in my life. I was avoiding having uncomfortable conversations with, relationships that didn't feel good anymore. And I decided before this, I was reading Danielle Laporte's Desire Map. So if you have never heard of her or you read her books, like definitely look into that. And she's not the only one that talks about this, because in the manifestation process, you have to realize you have to feel good. And when you grow up, like being told that feeling good is selfish, that is the complete opposite of what you're going to do. And if I wanted to be successful, then you gotta be burnt out. Like you gotta struggle, you gotta suffer. And after that, I just remember thinking to myself, this is the last time I'm ever going to let myself feel this way. Like I'm done. Like screw everybody. I am done. So I would make little sticky notes and I would write on them, and I don't have a pen, but I would write on them the word that I want to feel. So I want to know what your word is. So if you're watching this in Zoom, type it in Zoom. If you're watching this on the Facebook group, type it there. One word, the way that you wanted to feel. So Carrie says vibrant. I wanted to feel alive. Katie says joy. Organized, confident, calm, awesome, energized, calm, organized, light, abundant, awesome, alive. Okay. So you're going to see a lot of these themes, and some of them happy, some of these will be ease, courageous. Some of these will be kind of similar. And your word could be, I remember reading Danielle Laporte's one time. She said golden, and people were like, golden, what does that mean? Like, make up your own damn word. This is your life, right? So realize that you are in control of how you want to feel in your life. If you don't get anything today from this, just walk away right now knowing I have control of how I want to feel in my life. That's the whole concept of mom is in control. And you don't have to be a mother to watch this or be listening to Mom is in control. The whole point is, I believe women are mothers. We're mothering, we're nurturers, and we're nurturing, we're over-mothering everybody else. So I would write little sticky notes of my word all over my house, in the bathroom, in the bedroom, like everywhere, to remind myself that I matter, to remind myself that the way that I feel and show up matters. So even I'm being a little like extra energizing right now, but if I showed up like this, hi guys, it's so good to have you here. And I was like low energy, you would probably be like, ew, gross. I don't want to listen to this woman. This is not fun. I'm not excited by this. So I'm going to go. We are all affected by each other's energy. So logically, it does not make sense to me. And I just want to scream and like slap everybody in the face that we tell women that giving to yourself first is a selfish act. Because when you feel guilty for doing something for yourself, which I feel guilt every single day, and I always say that guilt is a mask of fear, that's a sign to me that I'm not a narcissist and that I'm not selfish, that everything that I do, I'm literally doing it for the betterment of mankind. I'm doing it for my children. I'm doing it for my healthcare system. Guess what? If I take better care of myself, I'm actually saving the government money. I live in Canada. Another story about healthcare. Anyways, the point is, because I am alive and I am vibrant and I am radiant and I am living the way that I want to feel. And it's a fucking practice. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's not, turn the light on and, oh, it's so easy. No, some days the resistance is so big that it consumes me and I don't take the action that I want to take. And other days it feels easier. So just know that it's progress, not perfection. So now that you have your word and you know that you want to, how you want to feel, you have to start putting those tasks on the to-do list. So for those of you who work with me, you know this process and what you need to do, but I'm going to show you. And again, this is just a simple overview. I'm going to show you, this is what I do on my calendar first. I put myself on the calendar first. And I put myself on the calendar first because I am the center of my life. The reason why, it's because it's my life and a lot of people depend on me. And when I am on my game and I'm leading from a healthy place, my world, like I can give so much more. So this is, what I call test calendars. So I'm just giving you a template of what my calendar looks like. And I'll answer your questions too. So start posting your questions. If you're watching this inside Zoom, start posting your questions and I will do some Q&A right now. So I know I want to feel alive and I want to feel energized. So again, I go back to my journal, I go back to my book and I write down, okay, alive and energized. What do I need to do to feel energized? Well, I need to eat. I was not eating. I would avoid eating because I was overwhelmed by food. And so I would just avoid it because I had this all or nothing mentality. And so now I'm in this routine. And guys, again, my life is not your life. I've been practicing this for a really long time. So you might not look like your life might not look the same way as mine. So I eat on average 3 to 5 times a day, like smaller meals. So I put those on here first. The reason why I have to put them on here is because if I don't, I won't do it. Sometimes I've even gotten to the point where if I'm falling off with a habit, I will put the times on my phone and make sure that it's getting done. Now, the meal plan process, the meal prep process, we create space for that on Sundays. And I've pushed through resistance with that as well, of like not overcomplicating the process. And okay, so then I have my wake up time here, and I have mind, soul, and nutrition. So when I wake up, I used to want to write, or I used to advocate for writing right in the morning, and I couldn't get it done. So I had to figure out a morning routine that worked for me. So as soon as I wake up, and sometimes I'm still lying in bed, I'll go get my phone because I try to keep it outside of the room. If my alarm goes off, and then I'll get my phone and I actually listen to an audiobook, or I'll listen to a guided meditation or something like that. Because my brain is just like the cortisol goes really high. And sometimes I feel a little anxious in the morning. Sometimes I'm not, but if I am, it's like, I just need something positive to like get the brain going. And then sometimes I will write in the morning. Sometimes I don't. Like, it's not the end of the world if I don't. Nutrition is big for me because my body now kind of craves food when it wakes up, and I'll have water. Now, I don't always wake up at 5:30. Sometimes it's later. This is a template. When the kids go back to school, we'll get the kids ready, off to school, things like that. My husband's home, so he helps. I'm also a huge advocate for delegating and outsourcing and high leverage action. And if I have time for high leverage action, I'll talk a little bit about that. And then I'll go to the gym. And again, it's usually 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm not always perfect. I don't always go at the same times, but I'm writing all of these things down. Now, sometimes I'll even go to massages or other appointments. And the whole point is I'm putting myself on the calendar first. That's what I want you to get from this. And then I will put my family. So weekends, I try to keep open for family time. Sometimes I'll have a call or something, but I just try to keep it early. And as you'll see here, like Fridays and Mondays, I try to keep for family appointments or errands. So if we have to go to the doctor, the orthodontist, I always ask, can I make it on a Monday or Friday? And usually they can accommodate, but we have to ask for what we want. And after school activities, we actually don't have a lot of them. I just am not a huge advocate of like overscheduling our family. So their stuff is typically on the weekends, but if it is, it's after school. And of course, I'm not double booking things, and I'm creating space and being mindful of that. And then I put my work around that schedule. Now, I am going to talk about high leverage action because I think this is a big part, and I know someone's going to ask me this question, so I will get to that in a second. Work is yellow. So sometimes I have early morning calls, sometimes I don't. It truly just depends on how I feel and if it's in alignment for me. If it's not in alignment, guess what? I don't do it. Or if I do, I'll say yes, and I'm pushing myself a little bit further, and then I'm recovering, right? I'm making sure that I have recovery time for this. But I will batch out marketing space. I will batch out client calls. So I try to do my client calls on Wednesdays and Thursdays if I have client calls. And then if I'm meeting with people, and as you can see, I also don't have there's still white space in here. So one of the feedback I get from you guys is you will cram in way too much time, too many tasks in a little space. So I create lots of white space in my life because shit happens, right? But if I know in my marketing, and typically what I will actually put on my calendar is the specific task. So if it's 7 a.m., I just working early, but 6 years ago, you would have never heard that from me. It's because I have more energy and capacity now. at 8 a.m. If I have to write a specific email, I'll put write blank email. And then I will make that task. If I want to make sure that there's high leverage action steps that are going to move my business forward, that are going to move me closer to my goals, that are going to move me closer to alignment in my life, then I write those specific tasks in this chunk of time. Now, I'm going to see if you have any questions. So somebody asked, does your day get skewed from this routine often? When do you okay that? My day gets skewed all the time. This is like I'm not attached to this. I am not married to this. Mentally, some weeks I'm like, this is what a perfect world would look like, and 10% of it happens. Other weeks, 90% of it happens. I have to check in with myself and ask myself, if someone's like, hey, can we do this? Can we do this? Oh, I want to do a meeting Saturday morning. That's the only time I can meet with you. Or can we talk at 8:00 at night? Most likely I won't take it 8:00 at night because I'm tired by that time. And my brain just shuts off, I find, around 7. So I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. And I try to, find time to make it work. But here's the point. I'm in charge of my life. So I can ask that. I can make that statement, right? Like I can say yes or no, but it gets skewed all the time. How do you remain flexible with the needs of your business, kids, household, etc., with those things scheduled in? Flexibility is within my emotional intelligence, because sometimes the old me, I would get really, really angry. And there's a process to this too. And I go definitely more into it in my mastery program and my Soul Elite program. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But the point of what I'm trying to get to is I have to do the emotional work in order to develop this. And then once I develop this, then I can play with it. But I used to get like really angry all the time at my children when I couldn't get something done. So the flexibility of it came with me really understanding why I was triggered all the time. And I had to do that work. How do you regulate dinner time with kids' extracurriculars? We only have one extra each with 4 kids, but they're so random. So oftentimes I'll make dinner, like Sunday dinners, a priority where we're all sitting around. And then I just make sure that food is made and people eat before or after their activity. So I'm not really strict about like what time everyone eats. Sometimes they'll have extracurricular activities and we're eating in the car on the way to the event. Or I'm sitting in the car eating with one kid while, the other kid is at the event. So the food is pre-prepped. I already know what we're eating for dinner. And we kind of just bring it with us because I know what's happening that day. So I'm not going to be, creating a taco bar on Monday nights. If Monday we're running here and there and everywhere, it's going to be like a grab and go, and it's probably already prepackaged. Not prepackaged, but, in packages. What calendar program do you use? So this is just Google Calendar. That's it. This is Google Calendar. I like paper as well. So I used to use the Passion Planner. Now I use the Law of Attraction Planner, and you can buy both of those online. Just Google Law of Attraction Planner or Passion Planner. And I personally plan out my week on paper because I just spend way too much time on the computer. And then I go in and input everything on here. And if my husband needs to know what's going on, then I, include him in some of those appointments. So like if my son has, or our son has orthodontics on Monday at 4:00, I will put the appointment here and then I'll invite him. So, and I'll put like, he has to drive the kid to there or whatever. How do you track time on your half-hour call slots? I think what you're asking me is like how do I track time? I don't understand what you're saying. So if I have half-hour calls, they're all booked inside of here, and we talk for a half hour, and then I go to the next one. How do I track time on your half-hour call slots? I have boundaries around my time. So I'm always looking at the time. And if it's, from 12 to 12:30, I'm letting them know, hey, we have, 30 minutes together. And then at about 20 after, if everyone's getting carried away, I'm going to say we have 10 more minutes in this call. So let's get to the point. Let's make sure you get what you need, taking action steps. And then if they're really keep going, there'll be a few minutes left. And if I'm back to back, I'll literally say, sorry to cut you off, but we have to wrap up. So just keeping boundaries with that. I just hired a couple of part-time staff members. How do you keep the tasks involved with managing people from overriding your day? I don't manage people. I have a project manager for that. So, but I get that, every business model is going to be different. So I talk to one person, and that one person manages everybody else. But that would be like more of a project management thing. We use, Teamworks or something. And what I will do is we'll have staff meetings as well. And I might do that, see where there's this extra time. Sometimes we'll do a staff meeting in this extra time. And we have that staff meeting, and I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. And everybody brings that. And then they all have their tasks for the week, and they make that happen. So it's like everyone knows what everybody's doing for that week, and the project manager manages those people. So it's also really important, depending on the level of your business and where you're at, it's really important that you understand that I don't have to do everything. Like, my genius is teaching and coaching and speaking, and, I will support the women who want to come into the program and talking to people and, seeing if it's a good fit and things like that. But knowing my role in the business and then hiring support for those additional roles. But it all depends on your level of business and where you're at. While you're out and about, if a task or item comes up that you need to put on your calendar, do you put it on your Google Calendar? No. The answer is no. So I'm human, and I definitely am addicted to my phone. My husband will tell you that too. But if I'm out and about and a task or item comes up, if I have time and space, yeah. If I'm sitting there waiting for my son to come out of an appointment, and I'm like, I have 10 minutes, I can look at my emails and clean some things up, I'm going to use that time. But the whole point is I'm focused on the task at hand. And I see so many people all over the place with shiny object syndrome. And then at the end of the day going, I don't have time for myself. I don't have time for myself. So 9 out of 10 times, I'm not going to be doing that. Then I'm just going to leave it in my text message, or I'm going to leave it in my email, and it's going to stay there until I'm ready to sit down and handle that task. Okay, ladies. So we still have lots more questions. How do you manage constant notifications, phone calls, emails? I don't get any notifications on my phone. I don't have one notification that comes off on my phone. Text message maybe, but it doesn't even make noise. My phone doesn't make noise ever. Unless somebody calls me maybe, which a lot of people don't call me. So I turn off all the notifications on my phone, and my clients know where to reach me. Text messages, like everything is on my own terms. So I can reply to my text messages when I want to reply to my text messages. I'm not like this beck and call service, and it's okay. Like, of course, if it's an emergency, that's one thing. But if someone's like, hey, what are you up to? And I'm in the middle of something, I'm not going to reply until I'm free. And that's okay. It's managing your energy and having healthy boundaries. Yeah. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Okay, ladies, there are 1,000,001 things that I can teach you. And now I want to share something else with you. So I want to know the pen and paper planner, called again Passion Planner, or Law of Attraction Planner. So for those of you who are listening to this, what has been your biggest aha moment? I want you to post it in the comments, in the chat, in Zoom, or post it in the comments on Facebook. What's been your biggest aha? Even just a little light bulb moment, something that you've already known, but maybe it was a good reminder for you. Physically scheduling you first, even all the daily norms, putting myself first, booking yourself first, not needing to react straight away and waiting for space. Yes, scheduling in meals to brain dump before bed. My phone should be silent. Finding a word because it reminds you to be intentional and frame things in terms of that word. Handling and processing fear as growth. The concept that guilt is a mask and scheduling yourself first. Healthy boundaries, and it's okay to put yourself first. I'm in control of how I show up. I waste a lot of time on my phone and to-do lists of unnecessary tasks before important tasks. Going back and really scheduling my time and have boundaries, especially with my phone and notifications. Remembering daily brain dump, reminding myself how I want to feel rather than rolling with the punches. Don't be 100% attached to your schedule. That I'm actually a rebel. And what you said, if someone tells me to do something, I won't do it. And this aha moment was a light bulb. I now understand my resistance a lot more. Yes, and focusing on the task at hand. So many things. We could be together forever and ever and ever. And so for those of you who are ready for the next step, I'm going to tell you how you can definitely do that. And I'm really grateful that you've received support from this. And I just want to show you this picture for a second. This is a picture of me 3 years ago, snowboarding with my 3 boys and my husband. And I remember this moment, and no one else understood why I was taking the picture. They thought it was just a family picture. But I remember this moment because it was the first time I had energy to do this. And my soul craves adventure. Like, I love being adventurous. I love doing, things in nature. I love all of that. But when you're raising children and you have a business and a life and all of these responsibilities, the first thing you tell yourself, the bullshit that you tell yourself, is, I don't have time for me. And this picture represents so much more, that you can co-create the life that you desire with your family. And by you becoming the best self, like you becoming fully alive, fully energized, that is the greatest gift that you will ever, 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 ever give to your children. And I get my kids are older here and they could participate. So let's just pretend one of them couldn't. And, for that day we had to get a babysitter or someone else to watch the baby. When you give yourself permission to go after your dreams and go after your desires, despite what everyone else is telling you, this is when magic happens. So I'm going to leave you with this, and then I'm going to tell you next steps if you desire. I just want you to write down, what if, in your journal. Write down, what if. What if you could have all of those things that you desire? You might not get them all overnight, but what if you had a plan, you had a strategy, you felt amazing, you knew how to manage your own fear and expectations, you knew how to work through your energy, you knew how to work through resistance? What would that mean to you to be able to manifest that in your life? What would that mean to you to feel fully alive and energized and abundant in everything that you crave? So for those of you who have been sitting on the fence and you think you can do it all yourself, because, us women think we could do it all ourselves. The magic of pretending we're alone in the world and that we need to suffer. I want you to go to heatherchauvin.com. So it actually says coaching application. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to say intake form. I would love for you to go to heatherchauvin.com/take back control. And I'm actually going to put it here in the chat box if you're inside Zoom. And this is just a simple intake form. This is an interest form, actually. It has nothing to do with my coaching. What I have found is that women, sometimes you buy into coaching programs, you purchase them, and you're like, that was the biggest waste of my money. I didn't get what I desire. I am the type of person that I'm going to read your intake form. In the last part of the intake form, it actually says, would you like me to reach out if I can support you? If the answer is yes, no, thank you. If you answer no, thank you, you will never hear from me or anybody else. If you write yes, then I will reach out via email and let you know how I think I can support you. And if it's a good fit, we'll get on the phone to see if you qualify, quote unquote, qualify for any of the programs that I offer. You can also, I would love if you just fill out this form and simply just put an email or a message in here, not a message, a question that I can answer on the podcast, because I do a daily podcast for Mom is in Control, and I'm always looking for more content. So I'm here to serve you. So any way that you want to do that will be of service. So all you have to do is go to heatherchauvin.com/take back control and fill that out, and I will be in touch. So the way that I work with people is I work with them in mastermind groups. And in my own personal experience, I've been doing this work, even though that was 6 years ago when I got cancer. I've actually been working with mentors for 10 years. And it just took me getting sick to realize that I didn't need to hustle anymore to do that. What I realized is there's a lot of bullshit out there. And I like connecting with the person that has created the content. And so I create masterminds. So the way that I work with people is you're going to come in. If it works for you, we're going to have an introductory call. I'm going to learn about your wants, your needs, your goals, where you're stuck. And if I feel it's a good fit, then I will invite you in. Once you're in, I give you the Cole's Notes version of what you need to learn. There's a process that I can bring you through. And if you implement it, guess what? You see results. But here's the thing. It's not a one size fits all. It's not live my life, don't live your life. It is, how can I be of service to you to living your best life? And too often I see women going through life independently, thinking that they can do it all themselves. And that got me into trouble too. We need community. We need connection. And some of the most magical breakthroughs that I've had in my personal and professional life have been because of the groups that I've been in. So when you're surrounded by all these women and you're like, I want this, and they're all helping you get there, there is so much magic that happens. So it doesn't matter if you are just looking to feel better yourself personally, or if you are a six or seven figure business owner trying to scale. There's different levels that I work with people. So all you have to do is fill out that link, heatherchauvin.com/take back control. And I will personally read it and respond and let you know your next steps. Now, one last announcement. The apple smelling, oh my God, journal. Can you see it here? It says, Mom is in Control podcast. Only clients get these. We give these away when we go to retreats and stuff like that. If you have been live on this webinar, masterclass, whatever the heck you want to call it, you made it to the end, then head on over to Heather Chauvin on Facebook, because we're going to wrap it up right now. On Facebook, quickly share the masterclass and comment below on Facebook. And then we will announce winner. We're going to give away 2 journals. They are not for sale. Everyone asks me this all the time. They're not for sale yet. So thank you. And I'm so grateful for all of you for showing up. Most of you stayed on the whole time, which makes me feel good about myself. I'm glad I'm glad you're gaining value from this. And I highly recommend you go check out the podcast as well. Mom is in Control, because I'm always giving away more value. And my whole goal for you is to feel an alignment in your life, because I truly believe that if we are all standing in our power, feeling amazing and energized, not only is that going to benefit our children, which is going to benefit the next generation, it's going to make an impact on so many people. And I just think women are amazing and powerful. And most of us, like the businesses that you are running, are things that can change the world, because we are such nurturers. And if we can do it in alignment with how we want to feel, it's sustainable and we can make shit happen a lot quicker. So I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Thanks, ladies. Thank you. Bye-bye. How can I help you? Once in a while, instead of opening the doors to one of our coaching programs, we'll simply open the doors and ask you, what do you need from us? So if you head on over to heatherchauvin.com/takebackcontrol, you can fill out this interest form. One, it gives me great feedback on who you are, what your problems are, so that I can be of service to you on the podcast and other free content that I create. But two, if you are seeking mentorship and you're looking for a coach or you're looking for guidance, I can let you know. If I personally feel like I can be of service to you, I will reach out. And if I can't and I know somebody who can, I'll point you in the right direction. I am here on a mission to help as many women as possible grow and feel alive and in alignment. Because when you are on fire, when your mindset is on par, when you feel healthy and strong, you are becoming the role model that we need for the next generation. So simply head on over to heatherchauvin.com/takebackcontrol. And I look forward to reading your intake form and seeing how I can be of service moving forward.